Hello there, gamers. In this video today, I'm going to be talking about the Zelda series and how Nintendo is going to take it in a new direction in 2026. Back in 2017, they reinvented the Legend of Zelda series with Breath of the Wild. And then a few years later, they did Tears of the Kingdom, but pretty much kept the same art style. With the new mainline Zelda, that's supposed to be coming out within the next 2 to 3 years, I do believe, because they got the remake of the Ocarina of Time that's coming out on Nintendo Switch 2. Usually what they do a remake, and then a year or two later they do a mainline series. So usually every 2 or 3 years there's a new Zelda game or a remake. But so they're going to be taking the new direction now starting 2026. I'm guessing not going to be using the art style they did in the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But it was been reported today by Comic Book Era. They're a well-known insider. They talk about what's going on in the gaming industry and movies and TV shows. They does pretty much like everything. But in the statement here, they wrote, it's officially a new era for the Zelda series and Nintendo in 2026. The existence of the Nintendo Switch 2 has required Nintendo to take some of its franchises in surprising new directions. Yeah, like they did it with Mario Kart World. That was the latest in the series, the Mario Kart game. Basically, the reason why it was called World is because it was pretty much open world Mario Kart game. You can go anywhere. But so they went in a new direction with the Mario Kart series. Brought the classic racing series to an open world setting, and Pokemon Popokia turned the beloved RPG franchise into a cozy building game. Now it's time for the Legend of Zelda series to move in a new direction. Yeah, so that new Pokemon game, like I'm not big into Pokemon, but I've been watching gameplay and catch up on the reviews and everything, like what people thinks about it, because it is a Pokemon game. It's a well-known popular series, but Popokia is reminds me of like you said, it's like base building. Reminds me of I don't know if you ever played the series called Dragon Quest Builders. It's pretty much like the same thing. It's like a mixed mash of Pokemon and Dragon Quest Builders into one. So it goes on, it says Breath of the Wild reinvented the Zelda franchise in the Switch era, and now the company appears to be looking to the past with the rumored of the remake of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which is slated to come out later this year for the Nintendo Switch 2. So yeah, I talked in a couple of videos ago about the Ocarina of Time remake. So because this year is going to be their 40th anniversary. Basically, the first Legend of Zelda game came out in the regular Nintendo back in 1986. A new era for the mainline Zelda games is also on the horizon. Breath of the Wild transformed the Zelda series. Yeah, because they went with a new art style with the Legend of Zelda. I believe the last mainline game was, I think it was Wind Waker, because Twilight Princess came out before Wind Waker. But yeah, Wind Waker was like a cartoon, shady type kind of game. A lot of people didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of it. It was too cartoony for me. The original Legend of Zelda released 40 years ago in 1986. Yeah, so I was right, it was 1986. It was an open world game that let players tackle challenges in any order. When Breath of the Wild was released in 2017, it was both a new direction for the series and a return to its roots. The reception to the title was absurdly positive, and it was clear that the future had arrived for Nintendo's fantasy saga. Yeah, I'm glad to go with a different art style. They did it with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I was getting kind of tired with that, and they also did it with the new Zelda Hyrule Warriors game. It's pretty much like a Dynasty Warriors kind of game, which it was pretty good. It was all right. I didn't mind it. I liked it. It was pretty good. But yeah, I don't know if anybody has played the Dynasty Warriors series. It's a great series to get into. But I loved it. And when you did it with the Legend of Zelda, I believe this is the third Dynasty Warriors type kind of game in the series. But yeah, I must say it was pretty cool. Breath of the Wild has been hailed as one of the greatest games ever made. Since it was released, and Nintendo's biggest challenge has been finding a way to top it off. Some claim that the game's 2023 follow-up, Tears of the Kingdom, is actually superior to the predecessor thanks to its larger world and sandbox mechanics, which led to inventive puzzle solving unlike anything the series has seen before. Yeah, so that's what they did different with Tears of the Kingdom. Like right after Breath of the Wild, you can pretty much invent anything you wanted in the game. Like if you want to get like to a certain point, you had to find a way to be creative and find out how to get there from point A to point B, which is pretty cool. And what was great about it too, I wouldn't recommend anybody doing it, but in I believe it was Breath of the Wild back in 2017, Gandalf, he's the final boss in the game. You can literally face off against him at the start of the game, but where you're so low leveled and not really that powerful, it's you're not gonna have a chance to defeat him. But I wouldn't recommend defeating him the first go. Okay, so both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom also received upgraded Switch 2 versions that built on what Nintendo had created. Yeah, so Nintendo Switch 2 versions had pretty much like 4K graphics, and if you had the regular edition on the first Switch, the regular Switch, you could pay $10. No, I believe it was $20 to upgrade it to get your 4K visuals and everything. It looks stunning on the system. I played it. It looks freaking amazing. While many of the upgrades were performance related with improved textures and smoother frame rate, yeah, I noticed the frame rate was pretty smooth in it. There's no drops in frames or nothing, which was pretty cool. Nintendo also built on the lore of the games with the Zelda Notes feature, which essentially gives players guided tours of Hyrule. Yeah, so Zelda Notes, basically you got the Nintendo Switch app on your phone. You can pretty much pull up the map on your phone and play the game. So if you don't know where to go to, it will show you on the map on your phone, which is, I think it was a pretty cool it's a pretty cool mechanic they had on the Nintendo Switch app. These two titles have been critical for the Legend of Zelda series on Nintendo Switch, but during this era, Nintendo also put out another major release that showcased the visuals of the franchise. 2024 Legend of Zelda's Echoes of Wisdom was a fun, vibrant alternative to the mainline games that put Zelda in the lead role. Yeah, so in Echoes of Wisdom, you didn't go in with a weapon. Basically, what you did, you like go to certain enemies and certain items, and you copy them, and you can like pretty much put them anywhere in the game, and it's up to you to figure out what mechanic to use and like what area of the game, like what best suits the area of the game. And yeah, you're not playing as Link, you're actually playing as Princess Zelda, which is pretty different. I think that's the first time Zelda had her own game uses Link as the main protagonist in the games, which I thought was pretty cool. Even though Echoes of Wisdom didn't get the kind of glowing reception that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom did. Yeah, because it was her own game. Didn't have Zelda involved. It was pretty much Zelda's own game. Its innovative mechanic showed that Nintendo was still willing to experiment with Zelda. The game's signature mechanic allowed Zelda to copy virtual anything around her, leading to gameplay unlike anything the Zelda series has seen before. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you can pretty much copy any item and put it anywhere in the game. Zelda may have entered a new era on the Nintendo Switch, but now that Nintendo Switch 2 is here, it's time for Nintendo to take the saga to a new direction. Fittingly, it's a major anniversary for the franchise, and while Nintendo hasn't made any mini announcements about the celebration plans, it does look like hang on guys, I lost it. Okay, where are they? This thing before. Okay, right here it says Zelda's 40th anniversary means big things are on the way. Zelda may have entered a new era on the Nintendo Switch, but now that Nintendo Switch 2 is here, it's time for Nintendo to take the saga in a new direction. It's a major anniversary for the franchise, and while Nintendo hasn't made many announcements about its celebration plans, it does look like there are bigger things in store for the series. So far, it seems that this new era is a much about looking backwards as it's moving forwards. Nintendo hasn't officially confirmed that an Ocarina of Time remake, is on the way, but the project has been teased by Zelda producer Inge Akanoma, and leads suggest that a big announcement isn't far off. As the first 3D Zelda game, Ocarina of Time did just as much to reinvent the franchise as Breath of the Wild did, and it's exciting to think about the classic game getting remake and updated so it can be enjoyed by a newer generation of players. There are even suggestions that additional remake projects like Wind Waker, I mentioned it earlier, and Twilight Princess are coming, but those releases may be further off. So about the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess games, I know Twilight Princess first came out on Nintendo Wii when they had the launch for the Nintendo Wii system. There's also a GameCube title too, so they pretty much copied it, but they ported the game from the GameCube to the Wii. But Wind Waker was never on the Wii. It was only a Wii U title. I think it's only still on the Wii U. You can't get it on the Switch. But in saying that, I've been hearing rumors that the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, they said that they are coming to the Switch too, but it's going to be like a combo pack, like what they did with the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. They had two games in one. But I think that's what they're going to be doing with Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess. And it's probably going to be a $70 game, just like the Mario Galaxy games. So far, it seems like Nintendo's plan in this new era is to ensure that Link's greatest adventure aren't forgotten. It'll likely be years before a new mainline Zelda game is revealed, and in the meantime, these remakes will keep players invested in the franchise and draw in newcomers. Of course, some of the biggest Zelda plans won't be on the Switch 2 at all. Okay, so she's coming to the regular Switch, and then it talks about Zelda is finally getting a movie, and I believe that's supposed to be coming out the middle of 2027 or the end of the year, but is a year off for that movie. The next era of Zelda seems about building on the series. Jeez, it did it again. I don't know what's on the go with this website. Sorry again, guys. Okay, here we go. The next era of Zelda seems about building on the series' recent successes with new iterations on Nintendo Switch 2 and a celebration of much older games. Those remakes have convenient benefit of tying into the franchise's 40th anniversary, but they also help strengthen the Switch 2, which still needs a deeper lineup if it's going to compete in the next console generation. Yeah, because next console generation, it's I've been hearing now that the PlayStation 6 is coming out November 2027, and same with Xbox's new system, Project Helix. That's supposed to come out late 2027 as well. So they gotta have a better lineup for the Nintendo Switch 2, because they haven't had much come out this year. And June is the 1 year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch 2 being released. They haven't had too many big franchises come up for that system. The next major open world entry remains in development. The clearest reason for that approach is the planned 2027 release of the Legend of Zelda movie. Yeah, so do you want to have it in line around the same time as the Legend of Zelda movie? And then just goes on about talking about the movie. It says here too, providing them with remakes of some of Nintendo's greatest games, especially ones that spotlight Zelda's most celebrated entries, is a smart way to connect the games with the film. That strategy is further supported by a slate of modern hits, which helps balance the nostalgia focus on earlier years. The combination of the 40th Legend of Zelda anniversary and the movie's release gives Nintendo a chance to fully embrace Zelda's past while buying time for the next installment. It's a smart move and one that should still satisfy the fan base. Fans have waited so long for the remakes of the beloved games like Ocarina of Time, this era of returns is unlikely to disappoint. More than anything, this period feels just as much as a celebration of the audience as it does of the Link and Zelda themselves. And then there's they had a question down here. In what year did the Legend of Zelda series first debut, marking the start of its long history? Yeah, they got like 1984, 1988, 1998, 1986. Yeah, it's definitely 1996. Because I believe A Link to the Past came out in 1990. Late 1990 actually. But yeah, so if they're going back, like they talked about earlier, about going back to their old catalog of Zelda games, they're going all the way back to the regular Nintendo. They want to remake them, because they already did Link's Awakening a couple years ago. That was a Game Boy Advance game. And the other Game Boy Advance games were Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons. They haven't done remakes for them yet. And they haven't done remakes for Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. And also they haven't done a remake for Majora's Mask and Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Link to the Past is my favorite Zelda of all time. It still holds up to this day. I know it was a Super Nintendo game, but it's still good. I go back and play it now. It's just like it was brand new. Like, it hasn't aged at all. It still looks the same. But yeah, in saying that they're going back and remaking a lot of the old games, I hope to God they do that with the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. They do the art style of Link's Awakening, the one that came out a couple years ago for Nintendo Switch. But yeah, guys, that's more news on the Legend of Zelda series. If you like this kind of content, please do me a huge favor. Like the video, helps out the channel a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until the next one.